everyone. My name is Scomicmaker, and welcome to another episode of Free Draw Friday. I wanted to start this episode off by telling you a quick story before jumping into what I thought about this movie. When I was a kid, I was really close with my grandparents. While my mother was working on her master's degree, my grandparents watched us a lot. We would spend the weekend or overnight with them while my mom went to classes. During this time, we watched a lot of movies. You see, my grandfather was a big lover of musicals, and it was because of those sleepovers and because of him that I love musicals too. I watched The Sound of Music, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, My Fair Lady, and Mary Poppins with him. So when I heard there would be a second Mary Poppins, despite knowing how there is usually a common knowledge that sequels are not great, I knew I would end up seeing it. My grandfather passed away almost 3 years ago now. I would have loved to see this film with him to hear what he thought as well. Sometimes it's hard to see plays or watch musicals because I always think of him, but I love seeing them for the exact same reason. My overall reaction to this movie was about 50-50, but we'll get into that in a second. For those of you who have not seen the original Mary Poppins, while it is to this date a 55-year-old movie, it's still a wonderfully charming film that I would recommend to any family, and honestly, I would say the sequel is about the same. I'm going to get into a couple spoilers in a bit, but I will warn you before then. But the overall plot of this movie is that Mary Poppins is back, and she's there to help the Banks children, just like she did in the original film, which is strange because she never aged, but the kids have. But you know from the get-go that Mary Poppins isn't just an ordinary nanny, and that she has some magical qualities about her. It's interesting though, because I looked into it a little bit, into some of the info about some of the books written about Mary Poppins, because I wanted to see where they got some of the inspiration for this movie from. And from what I saw, the books just have a few stories with the Banks family, and then maybe some other silly Mary Poppins stories, but nowhere have the Banks family grown up, which is something that I actually liked about this film. I thought it was interesting seeing Michael and Jane grown up, with Michael having kids of his own. Other things I liked about the film, I would say that I really enjoyed the movie visually. I think there are moments that captured the whimsy of the original Mary Poppins with just really, really good CG now. I liked the bath time scene the most and would probably rewatch that scene alone if given the chance. The music was also very charming and I enjoyed it a lot. The acting wasn't too shabby either. I think Emily Blunt played a really lovely Mary Poppins, but my favorite actors were the pair that played the Banks adults, Michael and Jane. Their performances were pretty good. I think Michael played a struggling widowed father pretty well, as well as you can play somebody that's that sad, but right here, is where I'm going to spoil a little. Honestly, overall, I really enjoyed the movie a lot. I just thought the ending was too convenient, and one part in general made me facepalm for real. I won't spoil everything in the ending, just two little bits that I didn't enjoy, so if you want to see this movie, skip to this time right here. You have been warned. You have been warned. Spoiler approaching! I repeat, spoiler approaching. Okay. Spoiler time. There is a whole climax to Mary Poppins that is just absurd. And for a Mary Poppins film with magic and whimsy, that is saying something. I won't get into why, but Mary Poppins and the Banks children receive the help of the town's Leary, who are basically the chimney sweeps of the last movie, but different, but the same, but different. They build a ladder made of all their small ladders to try climbing up Big Ben in London. Right after a really crazy BMX biking scene where they're going off rooftops and stuff. Anyway, Jack, the Leary leader, I guess, climbs all the way up there in this elaborate scene that takes a good chunk of the movie. But after watching him climb dangerously all the way, he can't reach the arms to turn back the time. And after watching him climb, almost fall, for quite a few minutes, Mary Poppins just scoffs and flies up there saying something like, "Oh, I have to do everything." Which, they kind of play her as a character that's trying to help the Banks family make decisions on their own. So that kind of makes sense, but this whole scene was not having to do with making any kinds of decisions. It was just like action. So she stood there and watched them struggle, knowing that they were running short on time, to just end up flying up there herself and doing it. Guys, I couldn't with that scene. But the only other scene that really had me go, so none of this mattered, was in the Dick Van Dyke character. While I loved seeing him sing and jump around and dance like he used to, he literally, without seeing him the entire film up until this point, pops in the film at the end, says some stuff to literally save the day for everyone, and then disappears for the ending of the film. He like literally comes in and he's like, "Hey, all that bad stuff? Don't worry about it. It's all good now." And then they mention him a few times in the movie, but if you were a kid, any of like the bank scenes or anything like that, where they talked about house and mortgage and payments and things like that, as a kid, you probably would have no idea who this man was, and he just came out of nowhere and saved the day. So, God, it was bizarre, but spoilers are over now, guys. Welcome back if you skipped ahead. But overall, as a whole film, I did enjoy the movie. I enjoyed it a lot, actually. There were things wrong with it. Oh yeah, tons of things. A little copy and paste with the new lyrics, and the ending I mentioned, but it was charming, and I will probably listen to the few of the songs more than I would see the film again. And it was also a really pretty movie to look at. Now, after all of that, let's talk a little bit about the art I made today. I like and dislike the painting. I don't think I did Emily Blunt any justice. She was beautiful in this movie. I think I drew her eye too big. But drawing at an angle while filming sometimes makes my perspective a little wonky, and I don't really notice it sometimes until I start to add color, because like I'll lift it up and it'll seem fine, and I'll start coloring it, and then I'm like, ooh, it looks bad. But I do think I was able to get some deep colors with my Koi watercolor sets this time, so I actually enjoyed that about the painting. And I actually painted this in one of my streams, so those of you who were there and got to watch me create this, thank you for coming. We even started a hashtag, which is hashtag DWSCM, meaning drawing or draw with Scomicmaker. If you ever draw anything, maybe you doodled while listening to one of my videos, or drawing something from a funny part in one of the videos, maybe something inspired you to draw something while you watched it, or you drew along with me in one of my streams, be sure to use the hashtag DWSCM so that I can make sure that I see the stuff that you make. I do plan on doing more streams where I draw or paint exclusive things that only are drawn on actual streams. I've been posting them on Twitter and Tumblr and Instagram. And I've also been taking requests, so for those of you who've been asking me to draw things, I might not get to all of them, but that is your chance. So what do you guys think? Do you like the painting I made this week? Did you like the new movie, if you saw it, or do you plan on seeing it? Or are musicals not really your thing? Let me know in the comments below. I know this kind of turned into a movie review with some art in it, but I thank you guys for watching, and I hope that we can draw together again soon. Bye, guys.